We're in a great period of distrust of Washington. That's not anti-Washington, that's not conservatism, because people want Washington to work, they just do not believe that it does work. And so if you ask people, do you trust Washington to do the right thing most of the time? Between 1932 and 64, the answer was 80%. Yes, right. Now we're at like 17%, 23%. There's just no trust there. There's no trust to tackle big subjects. They don't trust leaders to take a leap of faith. Turns out nobody in this country pays taxes. And I've never been more pessimistic about government otherwise in a country incredibly distrustful of Washington that would interpret those decisions as business as usual and which would be revolted. I really don't think you can underestimate the importance of what's happening in the country.
And I want you to talk to that, but go ahead. I mean, tell you, what is it that's happening in the country you cannot underestimate, which is in some way given expression by the Tea Party?
Right, and beyond that, I mean, there are polls that show if you ask people, do you feel positive about the Tea Party, Republicans, or Democrats, the Tea Party come out number one. Right. More than the Democrats, than the Republicans. And I've given talks out in the country, and I'll mention the Tea Party, and 20% of the audience gets up and applauds.
And what is that about?
Well, it's what happened. You have a country that is distrustful of Washington, and suddenly they felt Washington was growing and coming at them all at once with a lot of money and a lot of activity. And it was just coming at them, and they've recoiled. Personally, I think I saw the Tea Party movement as weird wackos in the beginning. But I didn't realize how broad it was. And it's not just, it's sort of a misnomer to call it the Tea Party movement. It's a lot, it's like 60% of the country, and it's not just this hardcore group.
Is it the center of the country and the independent center of the country?
Yeah, it is the independent.
And you're saying, and you believe, it's larger than either of the other two parties today, right, in terms of numbers committed to an idea or a series of ideas.
Right, and what is it? It's a hunger for a new system of politics, a hunger for a belief that Washington can work, that the country will not be in decline, and that is inchoate in some sense because it's a hunger for something new, but it's out there waiting to be formed. The bad part is I don't think they've changed. I don't think they've understood how this political wind is so strong that you just can't keep on with the things you were doing your first
but why
year.
is that? Why do a group of very smart people not see that and not take the same, feel the same heat of what is roaring across the country?
Right. Well, A, they believe in the policies, so they want to keep on with them. B, they're in the White House, which is inherently insulating. And C, I think there's an information loop that we are part of that has been very slow to reflect what was out there. So in the last year, I think one can be depressed by the power of Washington to lead movements, but one has to be tremendously impressed by the power of social movements. The Obama rode a social movement. The Tea Party movement, nobody in Washington understood where that was coming from, but it's a social movement, and it just arose.
Did you see it coming from the beginning?
No. I understood the distrust because I can read the polls, but I certainly did not see how that Tea Party movement would be part of a larger movement, which will create, I'm convinced, the person who runs against Barack Obama, we don't know who that person is yet. It will not be the normal people and the Republicans we know.
The Mitt Romney.
It'll be a person from totally outside.
Could it be a general? Could it be someone from business?
Could it be from
someone
or somewhere else? But it's just like the perfect moment.
But that person, you wrote a column about this, which you talked about Ross Perot, a saner Ross Perot.
Right.
I mean, who fits that profile? I mean, even if that's not the person, fits that kind of profile. And do you believe that person will represent the majority so that the President of the United States either has to recognize it's coming at him or become it?
Yeah, well, I think he has to become it.
Yeah.
Because, frankly, a lot of what exists in the Tea Party movement or in the opposition is scary to me.
What's scary to you?
Well, there's a lot of it's based on a lot of it is based on a sort of a class consciousness. You know, I think elitism and populism are opposite sides of the same things, crude class prejudices. And so this is a prejudice against anybody who seems experienced.
Right. How much of this has to do with a sense that Washington and power in America is elitist and does not either represent or listen to me?
Yeah, I think it's like that. The first thing to remember is we had this period of trust in government in 32 to 64. That was the exceptional period in American history. It was because of Franklin Roosevelt and because of World War II, people had trust. But for all the rest of American history, there has been this strong current of distrust. It's magnified, I think, by a lot of things. It started with Watergate, Vietnam, and all that. But then I do think we have become a class society to this degree that people in Washington, including myself,
yeah.
and maybe the listeners, viewers of this program,
right.
are predominantly coastal, highly educated, and we live in a different world. And it's not traditional sort of liberal academic elites.
Right.
I don't think that's what it is. It is, in this country, until 1964, college-educated and non-college-educated families were basically the same. The divorce rates were the same. Volunteering was the same. Voting patterns were the same. That began to divide. And now you have this chasm in lifestyle. So people in the college-educated class have half the divorce rates of people in the high school-educated class. Vote twice as often. Volunteer twice as often. And most importantly, have a much higher degree of social trust. Do you trust the institutions of society? People in my class have a relatively high level of trust. People with high school degrees or some college, which is the vast majority, do not have that level of trust. And they do not think those people get it. So if you have this climate of opinion in the country, and you get the whole country really concerned about economic, and for good reasons and bad. I was at the White House, and then I went to Capitol Hill to talk to some Republicans, and it was a mind-blowing experience because on the White House you had this sense of continuity, calm. On the Republican side, you had a sense we're riding a wind. We are not going to change. And I said, well, he's going to offer all these, modest programs for job creation. And they said, no.
They think the wind is at their back.
We're not going for that. And so you see a radically different view of where the country is and radically different interpretations of where they should go. So he can talk about common ground, and I've looked for that common ground. It's like a few little common pebbles.
Yeah.
There's no common ground out there. But to create social change, you've got to have good policies. Right. But you've also got to have an organic connection to the people, and you've got to have a sense of the historical moment. I'm not sure that organic connection to the people has been established, and therefore the loss of
There's
trust.
only one person can do that, don't you think? I mean, that's what Franklin Roosevelt did.
Right. And Ronald Reagan.
And Ronald Reagan. But has Barack Obama done that or failed to do that?
Well, I think he has not done that.